Aloha, shalom, live from the trees and the sunshine and the shadows of Sedona, Arizona. So, as you guys know, I do all of these readings mostly from Sedona, Arizona. It's a super magical place. Been living here for many years now. Let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. Where in the world are you in this moment? Miami, let me know in the comments. Give me a comment. Let me know where you are tuning in from. Where are you anchoring the light in for us today as we build this grid? I'm just going to shuffle you all into the deck as you pop in, as you tune in. Today is the final quarter activation, so if you're new to these videos, they don't actually have anything to do with the moon other than we use the moon as a measurement of time. The moon is just reflecting something way bigger that's happening behind all things and within all things, including ourselves. So the final quarter is what I like to call the in-between week. We had the full moon, we had the full revelation, right? And then next week we have a new cycle beginning. So this is the time to close up the last chapter and begin to prepare for the new one ahead. So first, start off by just letting go of whatever it is you've been carrying throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month, something you've been carrying for a long time. You know what it is. Set it down, set it aside. Open up, empty your vessel to receive this transmission. When you feel like you're in a space of openness and receptivity, go ahead and connect to the deck however you know how. And there are many different ways to connect to the wisdom in this deck. It all is a matter of how you define this deck, how you define these characters, these cards, these faces for archetypal wisdom. However you relate to them, depending on how you relate to them, is how you will connect to the cards right now. So we'll all be doing it in our own beautiful, unique way. And remember, you guys, these characters are personifications of certain universal laws that are fundamentally always operative. And so these cards just kind of show us what it could look like if we embodied these concepts, these laws, these universal laws in human form. It's the cloak of nature over these laws is really what these characters are. Okay, so who is the number one ally today that wants to show up with a message? The one who's going to help us to organize our energy into the proper channels to move forward with the most efficiency and with the most grace and with the most ease possible. So this is the one that's going to free up our energy in a way that allows us to do what we need to do in order to end the last cycle and begin the new one. What's the thing that wants our fullest presence right now so that we can get through it and on to the other side? What's something that we've been looking at? I'm seeing this is the one to pull. What is something we've been looking at that we need to take our awareness away from now? That it's either complete or it's something that is no longer needing our energy in this moment. So we can free up our awareness to focus on the other card, the one we just pulled. So what's the incorrect focus now? Which ultimately everything is in divine order, right? So if we've been focusing on it up until this moment, it's been perfect. Okay. Ooh. Before I pull up these cards, check this out. I'm sitting in nature, right? So this is pretty awesome. Look down and see that. Okay. So the first card is the thing that wants our awareness in order to close up the last cycle and begin the next one. Well, how perfect. 10 of Pentacles. 10s are endings and new beginnings. 9s are only endings, but 10s are the end and begin again. 1 through 9, 10 begin again. And the Pentacles doesn't just boom, manifest on the earth, represent something earthly. It starts first in the mind. The first principle of Hermetics is the principle of mentality. All things begin here in the mind. So looking at the 10 of Pentacles from that perspective, what is this one's very clear to me, because I've been seeing all the ways in which individuals in my life are experiencing this theme right now, including myself. And so I feel I've already said these words throughout the week in one-on-one readings. What is the image of fulfillment you've been working on constructing in your mind's eye? What has your definition of prosperity been? How do you see it? How do you think about it? What are your thoughts around it? Your thought programs around it, right? Like whether or not you're deserving of it, right? Is like one of the first ones you want to consider. And your language around when you speak about it. What is that frequency of your unique definition of prosperity and fulfillment on this material plane? It's time to really ask ourselves, what is it now, right? Because I'm always changing and growing, and so my visions and my dreams have to be refined along with my evolution. As I change and grow and shift, so too do my visions and my dreams and my goals and my plans. And that's great. That's a sign that you're healthy, you're changing. Change is the only constant in life, right? But right now, presently, what is your vision of fulfillment? What is it? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What would it be like if you were to manifest that? Have you really been giving that your attention? Have you really been giving that your time? Have you really been putting your energy into meditating upon this vision? Have you been holding strong to that vision? And ultimately, it's so simple, but this vision can carry us through our hardest days, our hardest moments. But if we don't have that vision, we don't have the solid trajectory, we don't have the where am I going, right? And so then we don't feel the why am I going. In order to know why we're doing something, we have to have a goal, and we have to shape our lives around it. And it's good to always revisit our goals, reconsider, refine. And so that's what we must do right now. We have to collect our energies wherever we've been leaking them, giving them to the improper channels, wasting our energies. We need to pull it all back in and give our full awareness, at least for a moment, to what is my vision of fulfillment right now. And this whole month really has been about that. What is my vision for fulfillment? And have I really been sticking to it? And have I really been centering my thoughts, my words, and my actions around the manifestation of this vision? And this whole month has been lessons around, well, if I don't have that clear vision, I don't have that clear path or trajectory, I don't know what to base my thoughts on. I don't know what to base my actions on. We have to have a clear vision of where we're going. And this whole month has been lessons around that. And you guys know we do these activations every week. And if you didn't know, now you know. So you can go back and see, what happened this month. Or you can just choose to tune in the future and kind of ride this wave with us every week. Totally up to you. Maybe you want to tune out of here right now. It's not for you. That's also totally fine. So this month has been around this. Well, what happens if I don't have that clear trajectory? Well, now the cards are saying, have it. Okay, the time is now. Just decide already. Stop it with these excuses. I don't really know what I want. I kind of want this, but I also kind of want that. And I kind of want a little of everything. Okay, ground it in a little bit. Be realistic. And what I mean by realistic is be as realistic as you need to be. I gotta put a rock on the cards before they fly away. Be as realistic as you need to be in order to believe the reality you want to receive. You have to believe it, not anyone else. So be realistic within your own imagination. Be realistic within your own mind, on your own terms, okay? That's as realistic as you have to be. Really, you could go far out. You can have whatever you want if you believe it. If you really feel it and believe it. So stop making excuses about how you want everything. Pick. It's time to pick. It's time to anchor in a vision because the new month is about to begin. And I just keep hearing this collective archetype saying, hello, just decide already, because otherwise you're going to miss that mark. And it doesn't matter. There will always be another starting line, right? There will always be another chance. But I'm feeling this big time as the main message for where we are at right now. This new moon, new beginning next week is highlighting a very important time. You could probably reach out and ask astrologers why, and they'll probably be able to give you some exact alignments, but that's not what I do, right? I'm going to the root of the situation, and I'm just going with what the archetypes are showing us. So if you do that, you'll be able to see how from multiple angles there will be certain things that align with that truth. For example, after my videos, I often get both Western astrologers and Vedic astrologers who tell me the reading was totally in alignment because it's all connected. It's all connected. So next week, really powerful time to begin. And it's almost like our higher self, our collective higher self is saying, okay, all right, you did enough work this month. We get it, okay? You've thought everything you could possibly think about this, creating this vision for fulfillment. It's time to just make a damn decision already. There are no excuses at this point. You already weighed out all the options. What are you waiting for? Create the vision and let's go. Let's take the first steps. Because those first steps are really going to be leaps considering the universal support that's going to be upon us next week. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm hearing. Let me know in the comments if this resonates with you and why. Maybe you have a particular angle to share why next week is powerful for you. Please share that with us. Okay, so new beginning next week. It's time to just decide on a vision, create that clear vision so that next week we can begin to take the first steps in manifesting it so that we don't keep stumbling on, oh, well, do I really want this? Well, do I really want that? No, it's time to be convicted in our decisions. It's time to be firm with what we want, know what we want so that we could just start getting it already. Enough with the back and forth dance. And I know y'all feel it too. I know you're like tired of your own indecisive BS. I can feel it. I've been seeing it left and right in my circle at least. I've been seeing everybody just saying, I have had enough of my own games. I'm ready to decide what it is that I want so that I can take the first steps to getting it. Okay. And the other card almost blew away in the wind here. 3 of Pentacles. And this is the thing that's been taking up our energy. And it's time to pull our energy back from this a little bit right now. So that we can give it to this. We've been so worried about this that we can't get to this. And they're both Pentacles. Check it out. 10 and 3. And so if we've been so focused on this, what does it look like? We've been figuring out who we should work with, work together, relationships, right? And that could be romantic, but can also be work, also just friends, family. We're seeing who works with us, who vibes with us, who doesn't, who has our best intentions, who doesn't, who can see our vision with us and either support that or maybe they try to sabotage it, right? We've been learning about relationships and working together with people. But Spirit is saying you don't even know what your vision is. So stop wasting your time over-analyzing where your relationships fit into your life and trust that once you have that vision for what you want, it will be very clear what relationships are meant to be in your life. And not only will that be clear, everything will become clear. It's almost like all of a sudden you begin to see the pattern, the way things are working, because you have a trajectory, you have a point that you're working on, and everything has to flow around that. And so if you have a question about how to think, how to speak, how to behave, you remember your goal. And that person is either supporting that goal or they're not. That person is either willing to aid in your mission or they're trying to take away. When you have a mission and you're dedicated to it, those other things become easy. Then you don't have to sit here worrying about the conversation you're going to have about cutting someone out of your life. Ooh, how am I going to say it? How's it going to go? You just say, I have this mission and this is not going to work. It's not fitting. You have a reason. You have an excuse. You have a justification that's actually real and true. Then you don't have to worry about what lie to make up or what excuse to make up or how you're going to do it. You just say, hey, energetically speaking, this relationship is not supporting where I'm at on my path. And just like that, the way that just becomes clear, everything becomes clear. Heck, even what you should eat becomes clearer. And I know that, this is a major thing that so many people have issues with, the diet, right? So even what you eat, the music you listen to, and not just consciously, but subconsciously, we begin to act, speak, and think in such a way that supports our goals. Because when we lock in that goal and we really implant that goal within our awareness, it sinks deep into the subconscious and it begins to alter that space. And it begins to rewire your brain and then rewire your being to open up the pathway to the manifestation of what it is you want. And so even subconsciously, you begin to behave differently when you have a clear goal. So don't worry so much about your relationships, work-wise, family-wise, romance-wise, friendships. Don't worry. All of that will align around your goal. And not just the relationships then become the most obvious reflection of something that's taking place interdimensionally. That harmonious restructuring will take place in every dimension, and you will be able to see it most clearly in your relationships. But when you see that, remember, it's just a flag to call in your conscious awareness to recognize that this restructuring, this repatterning, this remodeling is happening in all areas of your life. So when it's happening in your relationships, remember not to become too consumed with that process emotionally, because you want to allow it to open up your mind to recognize that this process is only obvious in your relationships, but however, it's a process that's happening in all dimensions, in every area of your life. So begin to open up your mind to that and start to recognize and give thanks for all the ways in which your life just effortlessly begins to be restructured around the goal that you choose with conviction. Okay, so don't worry so much about how things are going to work together. First, think about what your work is. What is the vision that you want to manifest? What is that idea of fulfillment for you? Know it and then sow it. What is that idea? Okay, from there we can decide who to work with, when not to work, when to pause, when to go hard. All of that becomes clear. Because then it becomes obvious when we should work with others and when we should work alone. When we should work with many others, or maybe when we're only supposed to work one-on-one with one other. But those are things that we will drive ourselves crazy trying to analyze and trying to decide when we don't even know what the heck the work is. First, figure it out. Sometimes the work requires more solitude, and sometimes the work requires more teamwork. And even then, there are more variables as we walk the path. Things start to happen, and maybe one moment you needed to be alone, and the next moment you do need help, but not just from anyone. From somebody that's going to stand out to you, almost like they're wearing a freaking halo, right? Because if we look, the signs are there. And so you'll begin to know when inclusivity, when including others, is helpful for the plan or not. You will know when it's better to remain alone or when it's better to invite in the help and support. And you will know exactly which source of support to open up to, because you will be so solid in your plan and in your goal. Okay, so we're coming to the end of the month. It's time to have a clear vision of prosperity. And may that vision include those around you, because it's never just about us, right? Even this reading is a collective reading. A lot of people come on here and they'll go, can you pull a card from me? Nah, this time for the collective. It's time for us to focus on that, at least for one moment. Sheesh, we're all so busy focused on ourselves and our little lives. How often do we stop to dedicate our fullest presence and awareness to a goal that is for the one? Really, that's why we're here. And really, that's what we're meant to be doing each moment, because when we focus on that bigger picture, the little details within it take care of themselves. And it's actually much more efficient to not micromanage a reality that is already so naturally, organically, beautifully managed, better than we ever could. So this is about the collective. Okay, and it's time for us to really consider a vision of fulfillment that involves the whole. And guess what? When we do that, when we create a vision of fulfillment that's not just about us, but is about our family and our friends and our loved ones and our communities and the world, wow, really taking it global, right? And even galactic. The wider we expand that goal, the greater we feel. The more powerful and full of purpose we feel. It may seem like funny, right? Like, well, you set the bar that high, that can be overwhelming, or that could be dramatic, that could be scary. It's like, no, because when you have a goal that is for the one, for the highest good of the one, then all of the parts of that one, which you see around you, right, in nature, and even within you, your cells, begin to work for you. Seemingly, right? Because your goal is aligned with the goal of the divine. Your will is aligned with the will of the divine. And so all parts of the divine want that success, and they want it with you. And so all of a sudden you begin to align with the forces of nature to more powerfully than ever before manifest this vision of fulfillment, because it's not just about you. It's the universe says, bravo, thank you. We're here to assist you in this mission. And that's like the occult key to this card right here, the Three of Pentacles. This is all about working together. Well, here we're really working together when we work for the one, which all of nature works for. That's the real galactic consciousness, actually, of this card. Because really, it's not just our world. It's the universe and everything in it. So, again, we need to do this once and for all. We have this week to lock in our vision for what we want. May our will be aligned with the will of the divine, so that we access that infinite source of support, so that we can feel more empowered in our purpose, why we're here walking this earth in these human bodies at this time, in such a powerful, auspicious, transformative time, this paradigm shift. So that we can be working for something that's much bigger than us, so that it can pull us out of our sorrows and our suffering and our self-pity and our victimization, so that it can help us to rise above all of that, to do what we really came here to do, and to be who we really came here to be. So let's get that vision solid, so that next week, new moon, we are ready to take our first steps, which we will know in that moment when we take them are really leaps. Woo! And I just realized, you guys, Hanukkah starts in 3 days. It's on the night of the 10th, is the first night of Hanukkah. As you know, Hanukkah's 8 nights. And this is perfectly aligning with this activation. I made a video the other day. If you didn't see it, it's called The Kabbalah of Hanukkah. And it's about really the true message of Hanukkah. It's not just about like the story of Judah Maccabee and the miracle of the oil. The real practical message we can ground in for Hanukkah is it's a time of year when the light is spilling over. There's so much light. It's a festival of miracles and of light. You can picture like the collective holy grail of the collective heart spilling over. That's what Hanukkah is. It's all about miracle consciousness. Okay, for the rest of the year, there's something called a menorah, right? And a lot of people call the one for Hanukkah a menorah. But the one on Hanukkah, the candelabra, is actually a Hanukkah. The menorah has 3 on each side and 1 in the center, making 7, like the chakras. It's like the everyday menorah, right? And then the Hanukkah is the menorah for the Hanukkah holiday specifically. And it has an extra branch on each side. Not just on one side, but on both, right? Balance for each of the polar forces, right? You're masculine and you're feminine, you're active and you're receptive. And so there's an unfolding of the original light. There's an extension of the light. It's spilling over. We have extra light. So Hanukkah is really for anyone. This miracle consciousness is for anyone. And we can really tap into this any moment. Hanukkah is simply a celebration, a ritual that's acknowledging something that's really happening always, each moment. It's dedicating a ritual to this awareness, miracle consciousness. And all of us can access it in a way where when Hanukkah begins in 3 nights, you can think of this activation and go, I have more light accessible to me now, more than ever in this moment. I'm going to open up to receive that. And I'm going to take this light and I'm going to boost these first steps I'm taking toward my goal, which I now am solid with. My vision of this goal is now solid. So because I got my shit together now and I'm solid with my goal, on the first night of Hanukkah, I'm going to start to draw in that light for 8 nights, not just one. Amazing. We have 44 watches right now. That was 8. And so I'm going to remain aware, and I'm going to continuously draw in this extra light during these 8 nights. And I'm going to use this to boost my first steps on my journey toward manifesting this new vision. And each step is really going to be leaps and leaps. Each step a quantum leap. And this extra light that you take in on Hanukkah is supposed to be like your reserve, right? Because we know there's going to be hard times ahead. Life is a roller coaster. It's up and down, up and down. That's the way. That's why we're here. We're human. And so as we step into the inevitable light and dark, we will do it with full conviction, with full faith, with that no doubt consciousness, knowing that we took in that extra light. So we have a reserve. You see what that does? And really, this is, again, accessible to us in any moment. So why Hanukkah? Because it's a time to fortify that neural pathway that leads to this miracle consciousness, this awareness. When we designate a time every year, which, by the way, is not based on the Gregorian calendar, it's based on the lunisolar calendar, same as the Egyptian calendar, Hebrew and Egyptian calendars. It's a special time. We're accessing a very special sacred timeline that has been accessed for thousands of years, and we're jumping into that collective miracle consciousness in a way that allows the space for us to fortify that awareness program around miracles, right? We're literally taking these 8 nights to perform this ritual. And why 8? Just like the Hanukkah versus the menorah, we have 7 days of a week, but now we have 8 nights. We're taking it over the top. We're spilling over. We're not just going to get enough. We're going to get extra. And truly, what it does when we designate a holiday and we perform this ritual around miracle consciousness, which is always accessible, it helps us to then carry that through the year and access that same awareness each moment, strengthening it every year more and more together as one. And so it helps us to bring awareness to a gift that we have, an innate gift that we have, that we just forget to tap into. Isn't that so silly? We forget. Oh, I'm just sorry. I just forgot that I'm a miraculous being of light here on a mission. I just forgot that I could tap into miracle consciousness. Oop, I'm human, so I was over here victimizing myself and thinking about all the ways in which I want my life to be better. And then, oh my God, yeah, tap into miracle consciousness. Tap into miracle consciousness. So we have this special holiday at this specific time of year for very specific reasons, so that we can individually and collectively, as one consciousness, tap into the miracle consciousness in a way that is going to be the most effective and the most powerful. So with that little bit of information now that you have about Hanukkah, I invite you to celebrate, even if you never have before. Tap in to the miracle consciousness with us. And maybe Google a little, do some research of the Kabbalah of Hanukkah and make your own rituals. So just bringing that Hanukkah back to this, you guys, summarizing it, okay? It's time to solidify our vision of fulfillment, of abundance, of prosperity, not just for ourselves, but for our world, for each other, for one another. And knowing that next week we're going to be taking not just the steps, actually even in a few nights, right? We're already beginning, because it's not on the new moon, always a couple days before the new moon that energy is coming and it's weaving into our awareness and into our lives, right? So I'm going to say Hanukkah, it's aligned. Hanukkah, the night of Hanukkah, December 10th, the first night is when we're going to start taking these steps to manifesting this vision. So get clear on it. And from there, we will be supported. We will know what relationships support our mission. All questions we have around where am I going and how am I going will be answered as we walk this path of certainty with our vision of prosperity. Thank you guys for opening up this portal with me, for activating this special message. If this resonates with you and you have some friends or family that you think would benefit from this message, go ahead and share it with them. If you have any favorite groups that you think would appreciate this message, meditation groups, any kind of groups, really, self-awareness groups, self-love, yoga, share it with the groups. And let your friends know that these happen every week, and we can meet together every week and create this global grid that we've been creating. So awesome to connect with you guys, my brothers and sisters all around the world. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for showing up. So again, go ahead and share with whoever you think would resonate with it, who needs an uplifting message in this time. Let them know that they're stepping into a powerful collective of support when they tune into these activations. If you guys don't know, I do have a YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/RebeccaMagic. If you hit subscribe, you'll never miss an activation, because if you don't catch them live here, you'll catch the update there. You'll catch the upload there. And thank you again to everybody who's reached out with book reviews. I appreciate you. I'm so glad that y'all are enjoying my book and we're all receiving that activation together. That's super powerful. I love knowing that this book has reached so many beautiful hearts, beautiful minds, and beautiful hands all around the world. And if you didn't know, my book is called The Royal Path, and it's about activating this inner archetypal alliance. And it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or a pro, it's for anyone who wants to receive the activation. Thank you all, and I'll see you for Hanukkah. Shalom. That's where you were in that tree. Shalom, everybody. Peace.